So it seems like a real problem. Why wouldn't women's groups who exist to carry the banner for women raise the alarm about this?
Hi, Andrew. I'm back again.
Back again?
Yeah. And I want to ask you, how is it possible for men to be a lesbian?
How is it possible for men to be a lesbian? Okay, so this story was all over the internet this week. There's a lesbian filmmaker and actress, Tonje Jevjon, who's facing up to 3 years in prison in Norway for saying that a man cannot be a lesbian.
So, Prue, the police removed the lesbians, not the trans activists attacking them. And if you want to see why the lesbians were being targeted, it's because they were carrying signs like this, which I would have thought was fairly self-evident that that's how lesbians feel. Surely they're entitled to determine who they're attracted to, and surely they're entitled to march in a pride parade without being harassed.
Especially at the time, I felt like women's sports was under assault, and I was always on the side of I want to protect women in sports.
Under assault from what?
From rules and regulations, and they fought so hard in the United States for Title IX, for equality, and then we had a lot of trans issues that were happening at the time, and I was on the side of protecting women's sports. We had a situation, as you probably know, Leah Thomas in swimming in the NCAA, and I was highly criticized, boy was I, because I didn't take the side of the trans community, because you can just look at it. I'm a common sense person. I believe in fairness, and it just wasn't fair for her to be able to compete with the women. 6'4", big hands, cardiovascular system, the list goes on and on and on.
There is absolutely no doubt that in America, we are free to live our lives without government interference or punishment. And that's what's so great about this country. Race, religion, sexuality, everyone is protected under the law. But even with such luxury, there has to be some limits. Recently, a lot has been said about trans rights. And let me tell you, I am the first person to defend them. Leave these people alone, man. Let them live their life. And I am sure this is the opinion of most Americans. Live and let live. But part of being a free person is respecting other people's freedoms and spaces. We are equal under the law, but each of us has a specific role in society. Men have a role, women have a role. No one is better or worse than the other. But we have to set certain boundaries. I mean, we've seen what happened recently in women's sports. Someone like Leah Thomas competing against women and beating records that easy, just like that. This is obviously upsetting a lot of people, but it doesn't seem to upset the people who are mainly affected by this. The feminists. The feminist movement came into the picture and fought for women's rights and fought for equality. Equal pay, the right to vote, a right for abortion. Keep your hands off my body. But I begin to wonder, why are they suddenly quiet when it comes to this whole trans movement? What you may not know is that the feminist movement is currently it's been like this for a long time, but it is divided over this trans issue. You have TERF, which stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. These would be the feminists who don't believe in trans inclusion and totally reject the position that trans women are women. That includes women's spaces and women's sports. Then you have trans feminism. It is a branch within feminism that focuses on trans rights. This stream of feminism believes that the struggle for trans women's rights is a part of the feminist struggle of all women's rights, which kind of contradicts the whole idea and concept of the feminist movement. An example is Julia Beck. Julia Beck is a real superstar in my book. Listen to what she has to say.
When we get down to it, women and girls all share a biological reality. We are all female. But if any male person can call himself a woman or legally identify as female, then predatory men will do so in order to gain access to women's single-sex spaces, and this puts every woman and girl at risk. And sports is just one institution where men are taking titles, scholarships, and this is a problem. Many women like myself have been pushed out of spaces that we built, spaces that are intended to include us, simply because we acknowledge biological reality. The letters in the acronym share not much. The L, G, and B are based on sexualities. They're based on sex, biological realities.
Yes.
But the T is based on gender identity, which is not based in biological reality. In fact, I would argue that it's opposed to biological reality. The LGB is very different from the T, and I don't think it's fair to lump us all into the same acronym.
Or someone like Tonja Jevjon up in Norway, when she was arrested, charged, and facing a 3-year jail sentence over a Facebook post. And what did she say in this Facebook post? She said that a man can never be a lesbian mother, and she was being punished for it. Now, feminists, they fought for their rights, and they had every right to keep and protect women's spaces. And not including trans women is not transphobic at all. For the same reason, not including men is not sexist. But like I said, when your personal freedom begins to cut into the freedom of others, then it's time to do something about it. And that's why I support TERF, or radical feminists, as they call them. This was The Truth Reaper. If you guys like this channel and like this video, you can share, you can like, subscribe. See you in the comments, and I'll see you in another video.